Hello, welcome to my Pre-Algebra review series. This video covers Chapter 7, Section 6, entitled Solving Two-Step Inequalities. By the end of this video, you should have a better understanding of how to solve two-step inequalities and use two-step inequalities. Please leave a like if you find this video to be helpful. Give your classmates a heads up too. It'll more than likely help them, and certainly it'll help this channel to be seen by more students. If you would like me to cover any of these topics in greater detail, please leave a comment in the comment section below. I read them and do my best to address each as time permits. Please subscribe to my channel and ring the bell icon to be notified every time I release a new video. Thank you. Let's do some math. Objective 1. Solving two-step inequalities. Solving two-step inequalities should not be found to be more or less difficult than solving two-step equations, because we solve two-step inequalities and equations using similar steps. There is one exception, however, and that is if the time comes to undo the multiplication or division of a negative number, the inequality sign of the inequality must be flipped. We will see this in greater detail as we get into this section's review. Okay, example 1, undoing operations. So it says to solve and graph 2y minus 3 is less than or equal to minus 5. So I rewrite the equation to get started here to make sure that we're working on the same problem. I look at it and check, and yep, 2y minus 3 is less than or equal to minus 5. So let's start digging into it. The first thing we need to do is to undo addition and subtraction. And that we're going to find that we're going to do right here by adding a plus 3 to get rid of this minus 3 right here. And we're going to move that over to the other side, so we're going to add a plus 3 to the right-hand side. When we do that and simplify, we're going to find out that we're left with 2y is less than minus 2, because the minus 5 plus 3 is minus 2. So now what's left is the coefficient of the y term, and that is a 2. We have a 2 here, so what we need to do is we need to multiply by its reciprocal. And the reciprocal of a 2 is 1/2, or to divide by 2 if you're multiplying. So we're going to multiply by 1/2. And we're going to, so here you see here's the 1/2 on here, on this side. And whatever we do on one side, we have to do it on the other. So we now have 2 over 2y is less than or equal to minus 2 over 2. And when you simplify this, we end up with y is less than or equal to minus 1, because minus 2 over 2 is minus 1. So graphing it, the inequality is in the form here saying that y is less than or equal to negative 1. So we go down to the graph, and we find negative 1 on the graph, and it happens to be right here, negative 1. And I put a dot. There's a dot on the negative 1, on the spot on the negative 1. And that's because it says or equal to, less than or equal. And when it's equal, it means include the number. If it doesn't say equals, if it just said less than, we'd put a circle around the spot on the graph, meaning up to negative 1, but not including negative 1. So we put a dot at the negative 1, and we draw our line, our arrow off to the left, saying that that y is everything less than that negative 1, and is also equal to the negative 1. Okay, so example 1, check your understandings. They want us to solve and graph each inequality. So let's start with A. Problem A says 5a minus 9 is greater than 11. So the first thing we have to do is undo the addition and move the constants to one side and leave the variables on the other side. So we're going to take the minus 9 right here, and we're going to move it to the side with the 11. So we're going to have 5a and minus 9, excuse me, minus 9 plus 9 is greater than 11 plus 9. These two 9s disappear, and we're left with 5a is greater than 11 plus 9, which is 20. So we have the a variable with a coefficient of 5, we need to remove the 5 to get the variable by itself. So we have to multiply by the multiplicative inverse, or the reciprocal of 5 on both sides. So we're going to multiply by 1/5 times 5a on this side is greater than 20 times 1/5. If we do the math on that, the 5's here cancel, and when we end up with an a is greater than 20 divided by 5 is 4. Okay, so now with the number line, 4, so we're going to start here. This will be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Here's our 4. And it's greater than. It doesn't say equal to. It just says greater than. So it says if it's greater than, you cannot include 1, 2, 3, 4. You cannot include the 4 in the solution because it's not included. It doesn't say equal to 4. So what we do then is we take and we put a circle around the 4. A circle around the 4, and its a is greater than the 4, so everything on the number line goes this way. Greater than. Okay? So let's do b. Minus 10 is greater than, okay, this time we have an equal sign. 1 greater than or equal to 1/2 x minus 6. So we're going to clear the minus 6 to the other side, or we're going to move the 10 over to the side with the 6 and move the, doesn't matter eventually. I like to see it with the variable on the left side anyways. So however we choose to do it really doesn't matter. But I'm going to go ahead and start off by doing 2 steps at once. I'm going to get rid of the 10 and put it on the right hand side. So I'm going to say plus 10, minus 10, and on this side here, is greater than or equal to 1/2 x minus 6 plus 10. Okay, so now we've got the 10 moving. So we're going to have, these are going to cancel and disappear. And when these cancel and disappear, we're left with 0 on this side. Is greater than or equal to 1/2 x, and minus 6 plus 10 is plus 4. When we add them together. Okay, and now we've got the 1/2 x. I didn't write the x in there, sorry. So now we're going to move the 1/2 x to the side where the 0 is. So we're going to have to subtract it. So we're going to say minus 1/2 x is greater than or equal to 1/2 x minus 1/2 x plus 4. So here the minus 1/2 x's disappear, and we're left with minus 1/2 x is greater than or equal to 4 plus 4. Okay? So now we have a coefficient of our x variable, which is negative. So we've run into that problem with a negative coefficient. So we're going to multiply both sides by -2, the reciprocal of 1/2. So we're going to multiply this side by -2 times -1/2 x is greater than or equal to 4 times -2. Okay? 4 times -2. So when we do this, the 2 and the half cancels, and we end up with x, and we've multiplied across the aisle here. We've got the 2 on this side, the -2, which is going to give us -8. But now we have to flip. Since we multiplied by a negative number on both sides now, we've done that to remove this half. We have to flip, so it's less than or equal to -8. So now to graph this, we're going to say -8 is where we're looking for. That's the magic number. So I'm going to draw a number line. And x is less than this, so I'm going to put the 8 right here. -8. 0 I'll put down here somewhere. So if this is minus 8, it says x is less than or equal to. So we can put a dot right on the 8 because now you don't have to draw a circle around it. It's including the minus 8. And x is less than that. So that means everything, this is negative 8, and x fills in all the spaces that are less than negative 8. Okay, for the last problem here in this series, we're going to solve and graph number C. So it's 17 plus 1/2 C is less than 14. So the C is already on the left-hand side where I kind of like it. We're going to have to move the 17. So we're going to say minus 17 because we have to get rid of the positive 17 plus the original 17 plus the 1/2 C is less than 14 minus 17. Minus 17. These cancel. We get 1/2 C is less than 14 minus 17 is minus 3. Now we have to clear the 1/2 out from the C. We have to get it by the C by itself. So we're going to multiply by the reciprocal of 1/2, which is 2. So 2 times 1/2 C is less than minus 3 times 2. Okay, so we're going to multiply both. This take care of this. This gives us a C is less than minus 6. So now to graph it, C is less than minus 6. Well, we're going to be minus 6. I guess we'll put it right here in the middle. And since this is negative 6, I'll put the 0 over here. This is a 1 over here, then a negative 6. We can't include it because it's not less than or equal. So we're going to put a circle around the 6. And C is less than that negative 6, so we're going to draw our line there. Okay. So now for objective 2, using two-step inequalities. It says here that now that you can solve two-step inequalities, you can use them to solve real-world problems. Let's go for it. Reversing the inequality symbol. So remember, they're giving us a reminder. Remember to reverse the direction of the inequality symbol when you multiply or divide by a negative number. We just talked about that in the last problem, but we're going to show you here it again. So in this case, the x is multiplied by a negative 2. And we're going to eventually end up clearing the x from its coefficient so that we have a singular x, 1x. And in order to do that, we're going to, in this problem, we're going to multiply by the inverse, the multiplicative inverse of negative 2, which is negative 1/2. So we're going to take the negative 2, right here is the negative 2, and we're going to multiply by 1 over negative 2, but it appears to be dividing by, it's the same difference, is greater than 4, the number on this side, divided by 1 over 2, or multiplied by 1 over negative 2. When you do this, the 2's cancel on this one side over here. It leaves you with x. And the 4 gets divided by negative 2, leaves you with a negative 2. We did not... and also, since we've done that, the sign reversed. We now have the inequality pointing the other direction. So we multiplied by 1 over negative 2, and that flips the direction. So before it was x is greater than 4, 2x, negative 2x is greater than 4. Now it's x is less than negative 2. So let's check our understanding. Solve and graph each inequality. We're going to start out with a here, so it's minus 2m plus 4 is less than or equal to 34. So we're going to get rid of the 4. We get the m's already on the left. We're going to put the 4 on the other side, make it a negative 4. So we're going to have minus 2m plus 4 minus 4 is less than or equal to 34. And we're going to subtract minus 4 from both sides. And when we do that, we're going to end up with minus 2m. These 4's are gone, so all we have is minus 2m, and it's less than or equal to 34 minus 4 is equal to 30. Now we have a 2 coefficient of m is 2, negative 2. So that means we're going to flip the inequality sign, and we're going to multiply by the inverse, is 1/2. So we're going to multiply negative 1/2 times negative 2m is less than or equal to 30 times negative 1/2. Well, we just multiplied by a negative number, so when we resolve this, let's simplify it. We're going to get the 2's cancel here, the negatives cancel. So we're left with m, a positive m, is greater than or equal to 30 divided by a negative 1/2 is minus 15. So now we're going to draw this out. We're going to say here's our number line. Minus 15, here's 0. Minus 15 is here. Oops, minus 15. It's greater than or equal to minus 15. So we can put a dot right on the minus 15 because there's the equals. Right here, the equals. We can put the dot, not a circle. If the equals wasn't there, you'd have to put a circle on here. And we're going to then say that m is greater than everything from here. So we're just going to fill this in, make it darker. And that's m is every number from minus 15 to infinity. Okay, let's do b. 6 minus x is greater than 3. So we need to move the 6 because we have the x is already on the left side. So we're going to say minus 6, excuse me, plus 6 minus x is greater than 3 minus 6. These 6's cancel. We end up with minus x is greater than 3 minus 6 is minus 3. So now we have to get rid of the negative 1. So we're going to go ahead and multiply by a negative 1. So we're going to multiply negative 1 times negative x is greater than, I'm writing it this way, negative 3 times negative 1. So when we look at it, we're going to have to flip this sign because we're multiplying by a negative number. So now we have x is less than minus 3 times minus 1, which is 3. Graphing it, x, here's 3, here's 0, here's 3, and x is less than 3. So we have to put a circle around the 3 because it's not less than or equal to 3. And we're going to draw our line out forever in the negative direction because x is less than that. So it has to go forever. Okay, let's look at the last in this series under Check Your Understanding, solve and graph each inequality. So we have, what do we have here? We have 8.3 is less than minus 0.5 b minus 2.7. So let's move the let's move the b to the left side like we like to have it over there. So we're going to add a 0.5 b to both sides. So we're going to add, so we're going to have 0.5 b plus 8.3 is less than minus 0.5 b plus 0.5 b minus 2.7. Okay, so now these cancel, and we end up with the 0.5 b on his side plus 8.3 is less than, these cancel, less than minus 2.7. So why didn't the sign change? We just took a negative number over to the other side because we didn't multiply it. We added or subtracted it. Only multiplication and division by the negative number count for flipping the sign. So now we're going to move the 8.3 to the opposite side. In order to do that, we're going to have 0.5b plus 8.3 minus 8.3 is less than minus 2.7 minus 8.3. So when we look at these are going to cancel, the 8.3s. We're going to have 0.5b is less than minus 2.7 minus, so this is minus 11. So now we're going to get rid of this 0.5 on both sides. So in order to do that, we're going to multiply by the reciprocal of that, which is 1 over 0.5 times 0.5b is less than minus 11 times 1 over 0.5. And we carry out this math, these are gone. So we have a b is less than minus 0.5 divided into 11 is like multiplying it by 2. So minus 22. So in this case, we're going to graph it. 22 is our number. So here's 22 minus 22. Minus 22, and here's 0 way down here, and b is less than, so we can't include the minus 22, and it's everything here to the left in the negative direction. Okay, example 3 speaks of a real-world problem. And here it goes. An expedition leader estimates that a group of hikers can carry less than 550 pounds of food and equipment. The group must carry 336 pounds of equipment, as well as 25 pounds of food for each climber. What is the greatest possible number of people that can be in this expedition? So putting it in words, we see that they're saying that 336 pounds of equipment plus 25 pounds of food per person times the number of people. And that has to be less than 550 because he says here that they can carry less than 550 pounds. So less than 550. So we're going to let P is going to be the number of people that we're trying to find. Okay, let's write our equation out. So solve this inequality. So we have the 36 from minus 330, the 336 from above. We have the 25 pounds of food per person right here, and it has to be less than 550. There's our equation. In order to solve this, we do it like any others. We're gonna move the 336 to the other side by adding a negative 336 right here to both sides. And then we simplify that. We're going to get 25p. So this is left after we move this. 25p is less than 214, which is 550 minus 336, 214. So we have 25 pounds per person, but the 25 we're trying to solve for persons, not for the weight of food or anything. So we have to get rid of the coefficient. So the coefficient of the variable is 25, so we're going to multiply by the inverse, which is 1 over 25, which is the same as dividing by 25. So we're going to divide both sides by 25 to get the p term by itself. And we're going to end up with, then, p is equal to 8.56. Well, how many people is that? We can't have a 0.56 people, so it's going to be less than 8 people, or equal to 8 people, because the number goes over 8, so we're going to include 8 as our top number. Okay, even if this was 8.01, it still meant a whole person. Okay, so let's check it. We take 336 plus 25 times 8.56. Is it less than 550? So we multiply this out, and so 336 plus 214. Is it less than 250? Well, it's equal to 250. It's not less than, it's equal to, but it has to be less than. But the important point is that this 8 was less than the number we came up with here. So 8 is the number because we can round this down to 8. So if we had put 8 people in this equation exactly, it would have been less than 550 and the answer would have been true. Okay? And now we have a problem for checking our understanding. It's a commissions problem where a salesperson is going to earn money. So a stereo salesperson earns a salary of $1,200 per month. That means every month they get $1,200. No matter how much they sell, they're going to get that flat rate amount, $1,200, plus the commission of 4% of the sales. So if they sell $1, they're going to get 4% of that, which is 4 cents. Okay, so the salesperson wants to maintain a monthly income of at least $1,500 per month. How much must the salesperson sell each month? Well, that's where their commission comes in. That extra money they want to make has to be sales times 4%. So let's write out the equation. We have $1,200 is the base salary, and 0.04, which is 4%. You take the 4 and move the decimal point 2 times to the left, times S, and S is the sales. We're going to let S be sales. S is sales. Has to be, and we want that number to be greater than or equal to 1,500 because the person wants to make at least this much, but they'll accept that much, so it's greater than or equal to 1,500 is what they're looking for. So in order to solve this problem, we're going to subtract the $1,200 from both sides. So here's where we're subtracting $1,200 from this side and from this side. And when we do that, we're going to end up with 0.04 times the sales has to be greater than or equal to $300. 1,500 minus 1,200 is 300. Well, we're going to now clear the S, the coefficient of S, which is 0.04. So we're going to have to multiply by the inverse, 0.04. Well, dividing by 0.04 by 0.04 gives you a 1 on this side, gives us 1s. And if you take 300 and divide it by 0.04, you'll end up with $7,500. So this person is going to make $1,200 a month no matter what, and then the sales is going to bring them up to $7,500. Excuse me, that's the $7,500 how much they have to sell in order to bring them up to the $1,500. Sorry for misspeaking that. Okay, so we're going to finish up this section by doing some exercises. Solve and graph each inequality. Starting with A here, we have 10 plus 4A is less than minus 6. So we're going to move the 10 to the right side so we can get the A by itself on the left side. So minus 10 plus 10 plus 4A is less than minus 6 minus 10. The 10s cancel. We get 4A is less than minus 16. And we have to get rid of the 4, the coefficient of this A, and make it by multiplying it by its multiplicative inverse, which is 1 over 4. So 1 over 4 times 4A is less than minus 16 times 1 over 4. These 4's cancel, leaves us with just the 1A. So A is less than minus 16 divided by 4. A is less than minus 4. Okay, we're going to graph it. We're going to do a line here. Minus 4 is our magic number, so I'll put a minus 4 here and 0 up here somewhere. And it's not including the minus 4. A doesn't say or equal, so we have to put a circle around the minus 4. And A is less than that, so we have to draw everything here to the less than that number. Less than means go left. As for B, we'll try that one now. Minus B divided by 7 plus 7 is less than or equal to 6. So we're going to get rid of the 7. So we have minus B divided by 7 plus 7 minus 7 is less than or equal to 6 minus 7. So we got rid of the 7's on this side, so we have minus b divided by 7 is less than or equal to 6 minus 7 is minus 1. Now we have to get rid of this coefficient, which is 1 over 7 is what this is. And it's a negative b, so we have to get rid of the negative also. And in order to do that, we're going to multiply both sides by 7. So we're going to say minus 7. Minus 7 times minus b over 7 is less than or equal to minus 1 times minus 7. Okay, so now these cancel. The negative sign cancels. We have b is greater than or equal, because we multiplied by a negative right here, that negative 7. So we're now switched, and we end up with minus 1 end up with a 7, because minus 1 times minus 7 is 7. So b is greater than or equal to 7. So we're going to draw the number line. We're going to put our 7 way over here, and we're going to put our 0 down here. And b is greater than or equal, so we're going to draw a dot on here because it's equal to 7, and it's everything greater than 7. So it's all this to the right. Okay, so for our last two problems in this section, solve and graph, let's start with C. So we have 2.1 minus 0.6y is greater than or equal to 0.9. So we have the y is already on the left, well, I kind of like it. So we're going to go ahead and move the 2.1. So we're going to say minus 2.1, that's the move action here, plus 2.1, the original number, minus 0.6y is greater than or equal to 0.9 minus 2.1. So we're going to solve, we're going to simplify this. The 2.1's disappear, so we have minus 0.6y is greater than or equal to 0.9 minus 2.1. And that equals minus 1.2, because we have a negative 2.1 and we're adding 0.9, so that brings us down or back up the line to negative 1.2. So now we're going to be getting the y by itself, getting rid of the coefficient, which is a negative 0.6. So we're going to multiply by the inverse, which is 1 over negative 0.6. So we're going to multiply by negative 1 over 0.6 times negative 0.6y is greater than or equal to negative 1.2 times negative 1 over 0.6. This could have a parenthesis around it if we wanted. Okay, so now these cancel, the 6's over here, the 0.6's, and we're left with y. Since we multiplied by a negative number, we have to flip the inequality sign. So now it's less than or equal, and the minus 1.2 times the minus 1 makes it a plus 1.2, and we're dividing it by 0.6. And you divide 1.2 by 0.6, you're going to get 2. So y has to be, draw our line, y, this is 2 is our number, so we're going with the 2 here, and I'll put the 0 here, and y is less than or equal, so here's equal, the equal part, and the less than is this stuff all here, y is less than 2. Okay, for the last problem, minus 5y plus 3 is greater than or equal to 28. So we have to get rid of the 3 by subtracting 3 from both sides. So we're going to have minus 5y plus 3 minus 3 is greater than or equal to 28. We're going to simplify. These 3's will cancel. We'll get minus 5y is greater than or equal to, oh, I didn't add the minus 3 over here. Minus 3 is greater than or equal to 28 minus 3, which is 25. Okay, and now we have to clear the negative 5. So to clear that, we're going to multiply everything by negative 1 over 5 times negative 5y. I'll put a parenthesis on here. Multiplying is greater than or equal to 25 times minus 1 over 5. Okay? So now remember, we multiplied by a negative 1. There's a negative on this side. We're multiplying to get rid of a negative. So when you just think of it that way, if you're trying to get rid of a negative, you're multiplying by a negative. So it equals y, because these 5's cancel and the negative signs cancel. Now we have to flip the inequality because we multiplied by a negative number, and it equals 25 divided by negative 5. So it's negative 25 divided by 5. And that equals negative 5. So y is less than or equal to negative 5. And if we graph it, here's 0, here's negative 5, 0. Y is less than or equal. So we put a dot right here on the 5, negative 5, and draw an arrow to everything to the left of the negative 5. That's the less than section of the graph. Thank you.